Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. If this is your first time on this channel, my name is Roy and this is Business Connect. And on this channel, we do interesting videos here in China. We talk about business in China. We talk about students' life in China. We talk about the whole expat life in China. So recently on the channel, we've been talking a lot about international students in China. When will international students return to China? And what is China doing to facilitate the process of bringing back international students to China? So if this is your first time on this channel, please consider subscribing because we bring to you interesting vlogs and news around China. And if you are a regular subscriber, thank you so much for trusting us and for being our subscriber. So in this video, we'll be talking about why China admitted or allowed some South Korean students last year in 2020 to come back to China after the borders were closed, and why they didn't allow students from other countries. So I think it's been over a year now since these students returned to China, and a lot of other international students who are really wishing to return to China have not had this opportunity. So like I said, on this video, we don't bring to you news. That's why we've not talked about it all along, but we analyze the news. So we thought it's high time for us to do an analysis into the reasons why China admitted these students. Why did China allow South Korean students and not other students? I'll see you in a bit. Don't go away. Welcome back. So if you're still watching the video, don't forget to smash that subscription button down there and join us on the channel. Okay, so like I said, in today's video, we'll be looking at 3 possible reasons why we think some South Korean students and even businessmen from South Korea were allowed to return to China last year. And the very first reason why we think these students were allowed from South Korea to return to China was because at that time, the rate of COVID-19 in South Korea had been greatly regularized, more than every other country in Asia and even in Southeast Asia, in Africa and Europe. So China considered South Korea at that time as safe, and so allowing students from South Korea to return to China would not put its own citizens, Chinese citizens, at any health risk. That's why China considered to allow students from South Korea, a batch of students, not everyone, a batch of students. I think they were using the South Korean students at that time as a pilot test, or like a test to see what will happen if students were allowed to return. Okay, so that was the first reason. Now let's look at the second reason. So in doing our research, in doing our analysis on the reasons why South Koreans were allowed to return to China, I stumbled on this also. And it says at that time, China was also trying to strengthen the bilateral economic partnership that both countries had enjoyed before the outbreak of the pandemic. You know, stopping citizens from one country to enter another country, it really affects the economic relationship that those two countries have. And China had really enjoyed a good economic partnership with South Korea, and stopping South Koreans from entering China had really tampered with that economic relationship. So this is the second reason why China considered South Korea at that time to allow its citizens to enter China, to strengthen this partnership that was really hit hard by the pandemic. As we all know, this whole issue is a win-win situation. China will always engage and pay more attention to those countries that he enjoys more economic advantages with. So if South Korea had been chosen at that time, it doesn't mean that South Korea is the only country that China has economic partnership with. It just means that they were prioritized at that time, first because the level of COVID-19 at that level or at that stage in the country had been greatly controlled. So that's why they prioritized students from South Korea at that time. Now let's look at the third reason why we think students from South Korea were considered. Okay, now let's look at the third reason. And you know, the third reason is a little bit tricky, but I would like to say it in the easiest way possible. We know that China had always had this struggle with the United States. And you know, the two countries are like two giants who are struggling to, you know, get things for themselves. So we realized that the United States had had a lot of interest in the Pacific Asian region. So since the United States already claimed to have on its side as allies Japan, Australia, and India, another strategic country that the two giants were looking at was South Korea. And so China was doing everything possible at that time to please South Korea. Like, oh no, we are for you. Like, so it's like you want to woo someone to do something for you. So these are some of the reasons why we think that South Korea was given priority at that time and not to other countries. And this does not necessarily mean that other countries that were not given the priority at that time are not considered important. It just means that they were prioritized at that time. First, we have talked about the COVID-19 situation at that time. China considered South Korea at that time to be safe. Like, the rate of COVID-19 had greatly been controlled. Now, the second reason, China was trying to strengthen the bilateral economic partnership that was enjoyed between the two countries before the outbreak of the pandemic. The third reason, now China was looking at South Korea as a next catch, and that if I allow this last catch, maybe the United States will just go and grab it. So these are some of the reasons why we think that South Korean students were allowed to return to China last year, almost the same time last year, and not other students. Notwithstanding, China is doing everything possible to bring back all international students, no matter where you come from, no matter the bilateral economic relations that your country enjoys with China, no matter the political complexities, no matter the diplomatic complexities. China is doing everything possible to bring back all international students. But like I said in my videos, if you've not watched my video that I talk about the countries that will be prioritized, go down there. I'm going to leave the link at the description box where I talked about the countries that will be considered first. What will China consider before bringing back international students to China? Go down there, watch that video. And also, if you have not watched my video where I talked about the 4 things that will determine when China will admit international students back to China, I'm also going to leave a link to that video. If you watch these 2 videos and you're someone who is very critical, you're going to see that a lot is being done in China to make sure that international students return to China as soon as possible. If you're still watching the video up to now, don't leave this video without hitting that subscription button. This is what we do on the channel. We don't only bring to you news, we analyze news. This is Business Connect. I'll see you in our next video. Peace out and bye-bye. Stay blessed and